Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash, or should I say, welcome myself back. Sorry, I've been a little MIA. I had a bit of a stomach bug. It's still kind of hanging around, but for the most part, I'm going to try to power through and kind of get you some updates because I got a ton of questions yesterday. Where are we at? What's going on with our all-time highs? And we'll talk about that and just kind of recognize that we do have this ascending type of channel breakout. It's pretty much expected, especially since we did not close below 104K. I mentioned that on Monday. And at this point here, it's probably best to presume that with this amount of volume, folks, it's best not to short, even though the price should come down. That's kind of the general consensus. So overall, let's go ahead and take a look at the backend data first and kind of start from there. Hit the like button, comment below, and hope you are having a great, phenomenal day. Let's take a quick look here at the last 7 days of liquidation. First and foremost, 112 to 114, that appears to be the local area of liquidation here. So that's pretty standard when people keep shorting. I mean, just keep in mind how many times the shorts have gotten wiped out here recently. So it's just not really a good consistency in trying to short, just based on what you feel is like the top. Like anytime we have new all-time highs, things get really crazy, things get really weird. So the best thing to do, and not to necessarily FOMO in, but you don't want to fight against the current trend. The trend is up right now. I'm willing to guess we're over some not moving averages, but some significant levels on the RSI, and that's an important thing to recognize. So having said that, 112 to 114 is that heaviest concentration of liquidation. There's somewhere in the range of, each one of these bars is about $7 billion, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's probably about 70 billion in liquidation, maybe even more, just between 112 and 114. So market makers are super good at sweeping those kind of levels, and that's a pretty significant amount. It also reinforces the fact that there's a lot of shorts piling up. However, look at this here, liquidation delta, 40 billion. This is ridiculous. Okay, last time it was at 40 billion is when we ran from, I think, 70 to 100,000. So or like 74K, our previous all-time high, upwards of about 100,000 or the 99K range. So you don't want to short against this because, as we know from prior timeframes, while it did pull back eventually, it took a while to do so. So I think the realism of seeing the 90, 80, 70K range right now is increasingly low, and the odds are getting further and further away. So when we take a look at the liquidation ranges here, this open interest rather, this tells us we do have some accumulations at 109, 110, and 107. So those are kind of, one's a local high, one is like kind of close to the all-time high, and one is a breakout. So the easy way to understand it is if we do retest the local highs, 110 to 109 seems like a logical pivot point for us here moving forward. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the weekly here and just to kind of clarify a couple of things so you understand kind of where we're at. So first things first, let me go ahead and remove a couple little things here on the chart. And just so you know too, I'll have a playout chart available on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. If you're watching the video, it's already up. So just know that that will be there. And then if we take a look here though, the weekly time frame, we've got pretty significant amount of weeks here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 weeks in a row here of green. So it means we can absolutely continue our local weekly high closure. Previous, basically just from last week, is 106.5, 106.6, somewhere there. Sorry, 106 even. So 106,000 is kind of that local potential support. Oftentimes you'll see weekly high closures retested after all-time highs are achieved. Okay, so just know that that's a potential reality for us. So we're seeing 106, 109, and 110. We can see MACDs converging here, of course. We've talked about this previously, but the weekly time frame is still very bullish on Bitcoin. There's not much that's really changed here. While we want the money flow index to be higher, it's not there yet. It's still okay, right? Still in good shape. So having said that, I wouldn't expect the price action to just pull back very hard, because if you look at this volume, we're staying consistent, we're remaining above our moving averages. When we look at the 4 hour, this is a 7, the 1 day rather, we're looking at 24, a very significant amount of RSI above the price action. So we're up over 70, we're in the stochastic swing to the upside. We can see our money flow index is looking pretty low, but all in all, with RSI up over 70, that's a significant amount of continuation potential. So the likelihood of the price action staying where it's at and going higher is greater. Okay. Now, when we take a look here, we can see MACDs converging. A lot of reasons why we're likely to continue further up and not pull back super aggressively. So I'd say a best case scenario would be the weekly high closure at 106, between 106 and 109. That seems like a logical place of consideration. Now the 4-hour time frame, this tells us a lot about that continuation potential and that our RSI is right here back under 70. And we take a look at its history too, just so you understand. The last couple of times the RSI has popped up over 70 has been when we hit this 103K mark. Okay, and then prior to that, we saw back in April when we hit over 70 in the RSI, we hit this range here too of 93,000. So each one of these times, it was expected for the price to pull back, but it didn't. Okay. Now, obviously, it has to pull back at some point, but the truth is, based on local history here, the odds of the price coming back down lower is pretty low. Okay. Now, these are just a lot of bullish continuation patterns here, and there's just periods of accumulation. So hypothetically, we're going to be seeing something similar to this here moving forward, okay? So I think it's best to presume the price is going to go up versus going down. What we want to do is pay attention to Bitcoin dominance and kind of see how altcoins are performing too when we consider trading those. I mean, as much as you want to FOMO in and take some longs right now, it may not be the best call because they may be starting to taper off and pull back. I do know that most alts are not overperforming right now, and for the most part, they're not really sure what to do. They're kind of running stagnant. So with Bitcoin pulling back, if it were to, just know altcoins might pull back a lot harder. So just be mindful of that. If you're taking a trade with an altcoin, it's important to be aware of how the market is affecting those coins. And for right now, it's not like it's a really interesting and unique situation because the market is behaving very erratically. Okay, so again, this is uncharted territory here, and the best thing to do on breakouts like this is to kind of just pump the brakes a little bit and make sure you're not getting too crazy with trades. That's a simple way to understand it. But I'm leaning a little bit more towards longs just based on the simple fact that Bitcoin is more likely to continue higher, especially with all this liquidation here to the upside and 40 billion liquidation long delta. Like there's just way too many longs in the market right now. And this is new money here, so keep that in mind. This hasn't been overextended for too long. If we stay at this level for 3 or 4 more days, then it may be a consideration to short, but I think it's way too early to consider shorting just yet. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Why don't you comment below? Let me know. Love to hear from you. And join us over on our Twitter, Telegram, or Discord, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks again so much for your time. Take care out there. Bye-bye.